This program is part of the Scene Projects Podcast Network. Welcome into the Get Better Together Project with your hosts, Bubba and Sarah. This show's all about being honest with your friends and yourself. Listen to our weekly check-ins and become part of our community. That's how we all get better together. Enjoy the show. Welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. Today it's Get Real with Bubba and Sarah. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're all doing so well. This is a very special post-Christmas episode. I'm gonna
Yeah,
swap us around so I can look at your face and not my own on my computer screen. I
I'm
have a,
just chilling on my nice comfy couch with my comfy pillows and all the soft stuff after Christmas. So, how
yeah,
was your Christmas?
it was great. It was great. A lot of family time. We stayed here in Tyndall with Danielle's family. Her brother has two and another one on the way here, like in the next 2 weeks. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, really exciting. The little girls are like 3 and 2, so they're at like awesome, perfect age, right, for Christmas. And our
Mhm.
kids are 8, 9, and 12, so they were busy building Legos and all kinds of fun stuff. And yeah, just a lot of time with family and the way it should be.
Yeah, yep, same here. Lots of presents and kids, and one of my sons couldn't be here. He's on the other side of the state, so that was sad, my 22-year-old, but we talked a lot and we even talked today. And then my 17-year-old, 15-year-old, and twin 11-year-olds were all here hanging out. They're gone at their dad's right now. And then let's see, my grandbaby, he is 4, about to be 5 tomorrow, and he got a watch phone. So he has called me like 6 times a day, and he calls me Mama Sarah. And he calls, I haven't even seen it yet, but it must just be a watch. And he's just like, Mama Sarah, I love you. I miss you. Okay, bye. And he does that
That's
about six
so
times a day.
fun. Man,
Yeah.
one of the girls, the youngest of the girls, got a hold of their mom's phone last night and ended up FaceTiming the other grandma. So
Okay.
all of a sudden she got real excited on the couch and she's kind of, real excited and shaking and she holds up the phone. Oh, and there's grandma. And you're like, how did you do that?
Yeah,
Did you get
technology.
lucky? Well, yeah, and we forget that these kids are absorbing so much more than just the words you say and the mannerisms that you do, and they're picking up on all of it, man. So it was so fun to
Yeah.
spend some time with them and to just be in the love, right? I'm so busy in my life, in my world. I'm out in the public. I'm constantly connecting with people outside of our family. And yeah, it was nice to just kind of be still for 2 or 3 days and to just really absorb all of that love. And yeah, to wake up today ready to get back to work.
Yeah, it looks like you have been busy and you're about to be busy tomorrow because I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow night. Tell me about tomorrow night.
Well, yeah, we got our big AB's ugly sweater Christmas party benefit, whatever you want to call it, the charity ball. I think we might do, as a yearly thing. This is all just grown out of necessity, right? This family needed help. They had a passion to help other families as well. I already had the date booked. I had the people coming together regardless anyway, so we might as well do the most good. And that's kind of become a mantra of mine this year and for the scene projects, especially, is like we're capable of so much more than just having a show and getting together for a good time. We can be, having a good time and raising some serious money to help other families and to help people in need. And yeah, that's what I want to spend the rest of my life doing is exactly that. And we get to go out and kind of test drive this whole theory. Tomorrow is crazy that it's kind of happening. I'll be on the road most of the day, but yeah, I'm really excited.
And this is for type 1 diabetes, right?
Yeah, and we don't have a name for the foundation yet. Helping Avery is kind of what the de facto name right now. Avery is my friend's 2-year-old. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes this earlier this year after, extensive testing and all the stuff they went through and kind of hearing their story and knowing other parents that are in my circle that I'm very close with who have gone through a lot of the same things, it was really important to, yeah, to get behind them, but then also realizing that they also have servants' hearts inside of them and that they wanted to help other families. It was really important to, let's get this first one and kind of show what it looks like. And then from here, we can start to plan more stuff and to get a little bit more investment from the rest of the community. So, yeah, really
Well,
excited to just help. That's all I want to do.
yeah. I'm excited. I got a hotel room up there tomorrow. I also got Live Hospitality, who I love, and Watiki and La Quinta all involved to donate to this awesome event. And I'm also going to donate a social media consultation. So I like to do those. It's two different 40-minute Zoom if you want to do Zoom with me. And then we just go over your social media and how you can, do better at that for your work or for your whatever it is you want to do. So I'm going to donate that as well.
Well, and I think that's something that both of us are so good at. We're able to look objectively at every situation. And I think that's why the show is becoming so popular with people is that we can both step outside of our lives and outside of ourselves and go, man, you fucked up. You know, that gives people the confidence to work with us that when, we look at your business and we say, hey, this isn't quite right, or we can improve this or that, that it's not coming from a place where like we're judging you or that we're, looking down on you or trying to tell you that you did it wrong.
No,
It's
we want
just
to
that
help.
exactly. We just want to help you get to the place where things work better. Like, getting better together is something we stress on the show, right? Like, we just want to
Yes.
grow. If we stop growing and we start to think that we know it all, then you're just dead in the water. I mean,
Well,
there's
that's
nothing
the
for
thing.
you.
Is like helping other people with social media. I'm good at that. I can help people with that. And that's one of my good uses to do with my life and to help people. I didn't even want to hop on a Zoom today. I wanted to, but I didn't because I have my own struggles, just like some people struggle with social media. I struggle with social anxiety, and I recently took a medication. I think I told you one of these last episodes that the doc was medication happy, and I'm not putting them down because they are trying to help me with my anxiety and social anxiety. However, I tried it for 2 weeks and it just like put me through the roof. Insomnia. I was up at like 2:30 every single morning and like high energy, but my body was just exhausted. And then my brain just like a whole different, it turned everything around in my brain. And I didn't want to go out to any events at all, which is totally unlike me. I love doing those things. So now they told me to get off of that after 2 weeks. Now it's like day 5, and I'm still feeling the effects of it, withdrawals, just like light sensitivity, sound sensitivity. And I'm just like, through the holidays, all I wanted to do was be this amazing mom for my kids and an amazing girlfriend and go to all the things and go shopping and do this. And I did really well because I am hard on myself. However, going shopping was difficult. So I waited in the car every single time that my boyfriend went in and shopped. And he's just like, please come with me. And I said, no, I can't. I barely could go to an event, a fun family event last night just because it was too many people. And that's what it's feeling like right now is just high, anxious, sensitivity, all that stuff. So getting real with Bubba and Sarah is this is the type of stuff I want to talk about because you'll see me out and about just like we see you doing all your stuff, Bubba. Behind the scenes, nobody knows exactly what you're mentally going through or how hard it is sometimes to step out and give, and then also take in everybody's energy as well. And it's just, it can be exhausting. And then you take a medication, which I'm not against and I'm not for. I'm kind of in the middle of like the medication and prescription world. You got to do what you got to do. But I'm also for all natural. I have my med card. I'm all for trying that as well, whatever it is that you need. But what I've noticed with prescription meds is if you take one, then you got to take another, and then you got to take another, and then everything. So then on top of that, I'm prescribed lorazepam, clonazepam, and Xanax. all
and
benzodiazepines,
and,
all
and
three
that's
different kinds.
that's the crazy part about it, right? That's the
Yeah.
linear the way that medicine is looked at, right? Is that, oh, well, this is for this little problem and this is for this little problem and this is for this little problem. And it's like, well, yeah, but all of these things could be part of the same problem, right? And a
Yes.
holistic healing is that way. It's the circle, right? Is that everything you do has an effect on the other things,
Yeah.
and you can't just pill pop your way to
It
happiness. It
sucks.
doesn't
Yeah,
work like
because
that.
then what else happens is, and this is just my take. Like I said, I don't put anybody down for what they choose to do to make them healthier. But for me right now, I started taking this prescription med called Vraylar, and it's brand new, and it's $1,500 a month. No joke. Okay, but I got help
That's
with
twice
that.
as much as my mortgage.
Yes, but she said, try this. This could be a game changer for your anxiety because anxiety and depression go hand in hand, if you know that. So even though I might not feel like I'm depressed, I could be. So she just prescribes me this medication, which I read about it, and it's for psychosis, bipolar, and schizophrenia. And I have never been diagnosed with any of those. Okay. But I figured maybe she knows what she's talking about. So I try it for 2 weeks. Then the anxiety is like all time up high here. So then I'm taking Xanax. Okay, the Xanax doesn't seem to help. So the next day I'm taking clonazepam. That's not working. The next day I'm taking lorazepam. And then I'm just like, then I'm
I
taking ibuprofen.
I'm not here to talk crap on your doctor, but how much research did she do into this pill before she's
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
know.
take this, it's going to make you feel great."
I don't know. And that's what the hard part is that's why I don't
Come
want to put down
on,
any
man.
doctor because I
Yeah.
do need a doctor. I do need a doctor and I
Yeah.
do need
Has
therapy and
she
I do need
ever
these things.
recommended exercise, more sunlight, more like,
Well,
or is she
I've I've been seeing
prescribing these
her
things?
I've been seeing her for a good, let's say 3 years, and I'm going to tell you straight out, I have my ups and downs. So when I am getting more sunlight in the summertime, when I am doing yoga, when I am grounding myself more, when I'm doing all of those things, I am mentally doing better. But winter sets in, and then the cold, and then the holidays, family stuff, PTSD, something recently a big PTSD trigger happened for me, which, like I said, we'll talk about here, get into it at some point, but a sexual assault that's really, really bad one. And something triggered that. Somebody reached out to me that I don't know, sent me a message, and said that they saw something 4 years ago that had to do with this sexual assault. And it triggered me, and I didn't even know it. Like I just was like, what the hell? This is terrifying. And then I forgot about it for the weekend. And then I drank a lot. I drank a lot all weekend at night, not morning, but all night, every night. And I was crying and I was sad. And this was about a month ago and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I talked to this doctor, and she's like, "That's your PTSD. Like, this is what PTSD does." And so then it just kind of was like this roller coaster of events of, okay, maybe this will help with the depression lately. Maybe this will help with the PTSD. Maybe, but maybe it won't. And if it doesn't, let's put you on a new drug. And that's going to be Zoloft. And that just came in the mail. And now it's like, okay, now we want you to try Zoloft. I'm still trying to get through withdrawals of this last 2 week medication. So I'm like, I don't want to try anything.
Is this a therapist? Are you talking about this? That she's like, this is your PTSD. Now
No,
let's dig
she is
into
a
this and
straight
let's
up,
do this. Like, or is
she's
it
a
just,
straight up
here's the name
psychiatrist.
of what you have and here's the pill that's going to fix you?
So she's the psychiatrist that I have to see to be able to get a benzodiazepine. I have been just prescribed those. I can't say described. I have been prescribed those for ever since my divorce, honestly. So about 7 years ago, I've been taking slow doses, but now high doses with this medication that I was just doing. And I am
And
talking
that's
with
the
a
alprazolam. That's the
so there's
Valium,
right.
right?
Yeah. And then I have prescriptions for the other ones to figure out which one that I want to do. I am starting a new therapist tomorrow over the phone, and I'm really nervous about this, and I'm going to tell you why. I had a therapist, okay, that I saw for a good 4 or 5 years. She knew every single one of my stories in Spearfish, every single thing that, bad, sad, all of this stuff. And one day she calls me up. She says, "Sarah, I can't be your therapist anymore because I'm friends with some of your friends, some of your ex-friends, we'll say, some of your ex-friends. She said I can't be your therapist anymore. And I'm gonna 100% say she abandoned me. Okay. And I have major abandonment issues. So when that happened, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You just abandoned a girl with abandonment issues. And so I have not seen a therapist since. I've not wanted to. So tomorrow
Well,
I
how
start a
could
new
you?
one. I
How
know.
could you? It's like going and trying to find a new lover after you've been burned time and time again, right? Like
Exactly. That's how
you,
I felt. And I still can't get over that. And I will not name names, nothing. I'm just going to say this is a small area. You know everybody around here. We all
right.
know everybody. So to abandon somebody who has told you their life stories and all of this stuff that's traumatic, and then to
Hasn't
say,
she
"Oh,
been,
I can't do it."
wasn't she friends with those people before? Like all of a sudden after 5 years, now you've come to
No,
find out
it was
like,
new. It was a new friendship, and I
and as
get
a
that
professional,
sort of.
if you know that, then you can leave your friendships. You don't abandon your client.
I know. Well,
What a
even like
terrible person.
that's what I'm saying is like I she could
God
have
awful
even said,
person.
"Hey, let me recommend somebody else for you, something." But ever since then, now this has been
Good
a
luck.
good, yeah, this has been 3 years now, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? And so to
And
start
in
a
which
new
case, the last
therapist.
3 years, you've been visiting the psychiatrist, I bet, a lot
So
more
now
and
I've been
getting a whole
visiting the
list of frick.
psychiatrist. Yes. And so I try to do things as natural as I possibly can. But there's times in my life where you have those triggers that set off the PTSD, OCD. My OCD behaviors have been a lot worse lately, I've noticed. The anxiety, all of that stuff. And so to get through my work, which I love to do my work. I love to be out there with all these people. I still have to function. And I can't have insomnia. I can't have, all this stuff happening. So I'm trying to get that all figured out right now, but I'll start my therapist tomorrow on the phone. I'm super, of course, nervous because who wants to get on the phone with a brand new person or even in person or a Zoom or anything and say, hi? Because the first hour that you spend that money on, I know because I've been doing this for many years, is hey, who are you? What's your name? How old are you? How many kids you got? Blah, blah. Okay, let's talk in 2 weeks from now or a month from now. And
Right.
then we're going to start all over again. Then the next episode is, hey, how are you? Okay, how was Christmas? How was this? Okay, let's talk about your childhood. And then it's just like, yeah,
And here on Get Real, we're like, yeah, we don't really care about all that stuff so much. What are you dealing with right now? What's affecting
yeah,
you right now? And then if that leads back to that childhood or it leads back to that, we can get there. But there is no one size fits all for therapy. There is no one size fits all. These prescriptions, I just can't stand. I mean, as someone who abused prescription drugs and just about any kind of substance that I could most of my life, none of that ever helped me, right?
yeah.
Do you walk? Do you walk daily? Do you do any daily
Well,
exercise?
I do. I hadn't been. Let's just say that. So because of my work and my hustle hard motto, I was just work, 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 everything. So there wasn't the yoga anymore. There wasn't the exercise happening. There wasn't any the swimming. I love to swim, sauna, all this stuff. And that wasn't happening. And so now the past 2 weeks, yes, I have been exercising from home, doing my own yoga, trying to walk more, trying to get outside more, hike, just, I read. I have this Shakti mat I lay on. I do massages. I do just whatever I can right now. Everything costs money, some of it, Um, so doing as much as I can with all of that, being around
I'm
my
very
family.
fortunate to have a treadmill in our house. I bought it at a garage sale. It was like 20 bucks, I think I gave the lady. Totally functional. It's not like the greatest model ever, but walking 2 miles a day, that's my me time, right? That 38 or 40 minutes that it is every time because I walk at the same speed. I do the same thing. I stare at the same point on my wall. That's my time, right? And I have to be very diligent about you have to go do this, right? It's nice to have the phone that's like, hey, you lazy piece of shit, you haven't got up today, get moving. It's so critical to what I've been doing. And I have a lot of these kind of, I guess, I don't know, things I've been doing religiously, right? Waking up, burning my sage and burning my, the things on my altar and giving those first 15 minutes in the studio to something else, right? And not that I'm asking for anything. At this point, it's just kind of a routine, but I'm almost so afraid to stop doing it because things have been going so well that it's like, well, maybe it is that, and I'm too scared. And I don't want to say that I'm scared, but like, if it's been working, why mess with it, right? A
Yeah.
passage in a book and 15 minutes to just sit there and kind of the process of blowing on the sage to kind of roast it out and to be that fire, that breath, right? Getting on the treadmill and just kind of being in my breathing. I try not to be just on my phone and working at the same time. I always have it with me and close by so that if something strikes, I can get it out. But that 40 minutes a day is maybe the most important 40 minutes of my day, no matter what else is going on. And then sometimes if I have a busy day and it means I got to wake up at 6 a.m. and just get right on the treadmill before the rest of the day gets going, it's the same. When I go to this weekend, when I'm staying at the hotel and everything, I hope they have a treadmill. Otherwise, I'm going out on the
And
street.
they
I got to
do.
get it in. Right.
La
And,
Quinta
and they did in
does.
Minneapolis, right? We didn't
Yes.
stop. Danielle and I worked out every single day that we were up there because it's those things that are keeping me sane because otherwise I get up here, right?
Well,
I get
that's
stuck up here
exactly
and
like
I'm done. I'm
I'm
cooked.
listening to you and it's routine. And that is the thing is I think that I have to have routine as well. And I've not been doing the best at my routine for myself. So my self-care, I'm trying to do it all. I mean, you got to think I got 5 kids. I got a grandbaby. I've got my own business. I've got just I can't, new boyfriend. Well, not new, but in the last 3 years that I'm trying to, figure out life with, and 2 dogs, and just all of these things, podcasts to a show on Instagram, Black Hills Hustle that I do. So I'm trying to do all those things, but I'm forgetting the exact routine that I need to do to take care of myself. And one of them is cold plunging, the sauna, swimming. I love to swim laps, all that stuff. But if anybody knows anxious and panic disorder, if you have a panic attack at a place, you don't want to go back to that place or you don't want to go do that thing again for a while. So recently I was at the rec center that I love in Deadwood, swimming, saunaing, got in the sauna, wasn't feeling very good. My blood pressure freaking spiked and got out. Ended up the ambulance came for me. It was so embarrassing. I'm laying there for an hour. I couldn't even move. They had to pick me up, put me in the stretcher, which I should be able to walk into the car and get myself to the doctor, but instead I couldn't that day. And my blood pressure was just so high.
Was this while you were
Oh,
taking the new medication?
no, nope. So this was before also. This was around PTSD time and all that stuff happening, triggering. And so I went to the ambulance, went to the hospital, my blood pressure, they took care of that, gave me some potassium. This was the day of my launch party, my big hustle hard launch party. And I still had to make it to that night, which was hard, but I did it. And so that kind of setting it all off, now I don't want to go to the rec center because of it. I love swimming. I love, the sauna, but I'm afraid to get in the sauna because I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm afraid to go swimming because I haven't seen those people since any of that happened. And so the cold plunging today is not bad. I mean, I could go cold plunging today, but 20-degree weather in the Black Hills with ice all around the water. It's not so much fun in the creek.
Well, it's not
it's,
supposed to be fun. It's
it's
supposed to be
cold.
hard. It's supposed
Yeah.
to be hard because then it makes the rest of the BS that we deal with look easy, right?
Yeah.
If you wake up every day and you go climb inside of barely above freezing water, nothing else in your day is going to come close to how much that sucked,
So maybe
right?
that's what I just need to go do again is hop
You
in the
need
water
you need to do
because
stuff that sucks more than your life does. Like, and if your life sucks, then you got to do some really sucky stuff to break that,
I know. But I keep
It's
having this fear. Let me tell you this fear that I have. I have this fear that I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to get in the water and I'm going to drown. And people are going to find me in Sarah's Creek spot dead and naked. No, no, I don't know. But so in the winter, I'm a little bit scared to go by myself. So I need a cold plunging friend. And around here, not everybody wants to go cold plunging.
It's
Believe
not
me, I
just
have
around there.
kids,
It's not anywhere. People don't do that, right? Like people like us
especially
that
in a creek.
listen to
Yeah,
people that listen to really successful people. That's not most people, right? Like we listen to the podcasts I'm consuming and the people that I'm associated with are very successful people. Um Most people you're connected with are not that. They don't
Yeah,
have
and I'm
routines.
listening to self-help books every day, all day, and it's get out there, yoga, cold plunge, this, that. And I know those things help. It's just once you kind of get in a funk though, and you get out of the routine, it is
You ever
so
just
hard to
turn
get
the
yourself
cold
back.
shower on? You just turn the shower on cold and use that as
That one's
a
harder for me. I don't know why that's
yeah,
harder
because
for
it's too
me, a
easy to get
cold
out.
shower. Yeah, it is. It's
Too
like
easy to shut off
I
the water.
I
Fuck
would
this.
way
It's
rather
hard.
get in the creek, way
Yeah.
rather get in the freezing cold freaking creek than turn on a cold shower. And I don't know what it is. I take a bath every single day. What I'll do with my bathtub, I just got out of there, is I'll do hot water, but then I do cold. And I like to make it like trinkle really cold, freezing cold, and then kind of use meditation to stare at that little trinkle of water coming down and feeling it hit the hot water. So I'm doing lots of these meditation things and stuff. It's just that I might just be a little bit more fucked up than a lot of people. And I don't think people realize that with all the
I don't
things.
want you to take this the wrong way, but you definitely are, right? Most
Yes,
people
yes,
and as am I. It's no shot at
yeah,
you. It's why we have this show, right? You
yeah.
know, it's
Hmm.
the that's the most inspiring thing, right, Sarah? Is that like
Yeah.
us talking about all the shit that we've been through? Most people are going to listen to it and be like, "Holy fuck, I need to quit complaining about my life. Maybe I got it pretty good. You know,
Well,
maybe it's not so bad."
that's the thing is I went to this thing called Awakening of Love. And I love this. Okay, it's also called the Path of Love. And it was a 3-day treatment. And I don't even know how to explain it. It was treatment on steroids. It was amazing. But people listened to my stories that I felt like opening up and sharing, and I listened to people's stories that they felt like opening up and sharing. And there were some people in the room, and I love these people. So if they're listening to this, um, I just want them to know that everybody's story is terrifying or traumatic to them. It doesn't matter what it is, it's what they've been through, okay? But you hear one person's story that, you're listening and they're crying and they're sad and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my childhood was boring." Maybe that's what it was. Their childhood was so boring. And then he got me and I'm bawling about this and bawling about that and people are looking at me like, "Oh my God. Oh my God." Like I had no idea. I would have never guessed any of that stuff has happened to you or you've been through any of that. And, but then I try to explain that to them. It doesn't mean my story is worse than anybody's. It's just that it's pretty traumatic
Well,
stuff.
and it gives them perspective on their own lives, right? Like that's why I love this show. That's why I love podcasting in general. I just wrote it in the book that I'm working on, Sarah. I started writing a book over this break, and to get all of this out into the world, this is how we heal. I'm trying to teach people how to just have conversations and have community with of one friend. Literally, you just talking and sharing your experience with one friend, like we're doing now, and then to share that with the world, it's incredibly brave, right? It's incredibly hard. It's not easy to just put your whole life out there, especially when you're from or you live in a small town. I come from a place where I just don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't see most of these people anyway. And even when I was there, they weren't paying that much attention to me in the first place. So what do I care? What do I
Yeah.
care? Here's my dirty laundry. If it helps you heal or it helps one person heal out there, that's better than keeping it inside of myself. Now, if we can start to teach the whole world how to do that, Sarah, the whole world is going to heal so much faster. And that's kind of the basis of the book. And I don't know if I would have gotten to that place without us starting this podcast where I could just freely share and be angry and help you when you're crying and to be calmed down by you when I'm going off the freaking rails, right? Like this is community, this is human experience, this is what it is, right? This is how you get real and this is how we get better together.
Well, that's what I want. It took me a lot of time thinking about this because of the marketing influencer that I am or social media person that I am, because you have some people that say, "Oh, that could ruin you." You talk about your life and talk about, who you are really, that could ruin you. Or, I don't think that's a good idea. Or you could piss people off, after that one episode with my mother talking about my mom. My mom was very upset by that, and she did reach out. And I explained to her, I said, "Mom, this doesn't mean that it's 100% real. It's real from me. That's what I remember. That's what I went through. But it doesn't mean, you have your story, I have my story, and I do care about you. And I'm sorry that it hurt your feelings, but I have to be real with myself. and what I've been through in my life, because that's how I am going to get better. And I want the teenagers, the kids, the people that follow me, because there are teens that follow me. There are, all this stuff, to look at life as it being real. Like, hey, I'm not getting the Botox. I'm not getting I barely have any makeup on at all whatsoever. I want to be that way. I want to be the person that has anxiety. I don't want to be that person, but I want to explain that I do have it. And so when I walk into a room and it's a huge event, and I might look stuck up and I might look upset and I might look like I don't want to be there, or I take off really fast. What they don't realize internally is that I'm actually struggling really, really hard inside with just picking up a conversation with somebody. I can walk into a room with a microphone and I can sing, I can talk, I can host something, I can be the star. But for me to walk up to somebody and start a conversation with somebody is like, so I'd
Well,
rather just,
and at some point it's part of who we are too, where we're just not superficial people. And to enter into superficial conversations with people for several hours at an event or something, it's draining. I just
it's
don't.
oh, so much.
Yeah, I just don't. It doesn't interest me, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I've definitely in the last few weeks where I want to be on that stage, right? Speaking engagements and doing this, delivering this message on a bigger scale, because that's where I'm the most useful. I'm the most useful to you broadcasting my message and doing this rather than just delivering it on a one-to-one basis, because I'm not even going to engage in a superficial conversation with you. Most of my conversations are one-sided anyway. I'm coming
Yeah.
up to you and I'm delivering the message anyway, right? So why waste both of our times? I would rather just do it in these larger settings, and seeing that in real life, going to this business summit a few weeks ago where I was like, just give me his script. Just I can go sell what he's selling. It's the same message that I've been saying, is that, this podcast thing is the wave of the future. And he's not talking about it the way that we're talking about it, where we're talking about healing people and healing ourselves, but that this is how messages are delivered, right? And
Yeah.
I can deliver that message a lot better just between me and you and then broadcasting that to the world than to try and have 37 superficial conversations at a chamber mixer
Yeah.
or something, right?
That's the thing, is the mixers are hard because you walk up to each person and you say, "Hi, how are you? What's your name? What do you do?" And those are the conversations I can't stand. And this is one thing about me. I can walk up to the anybody on the street, a homeless person, the richest person in the world on the street, if they just happen to be sitting there. Let's say they're sitting there and they're smoking a cigarette, or they're just sitting there. I can sit down and talk for hours with that person one on one and create like this meaningful relationship. Um, but walking around from person to person in a room and saying, how are you? Who are you? Blah blah blah. That I do not like that at all. So that's why me and you, we could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and probably never shut up, just because this is the type of conversations I like to have with people. Real stuff of
Deep,
like, hey, how was your day?
meaningful.
Yeah. And for my friend, when I say, how was your day through text, and they say, actually, today was shitty, that's the stuff I want to hear rather than, oh, I'm good. Everything's good. How are you? It's the same with you today. We talked about having a podcast. Then I lied to you. And I said something came up. I sent you a text. I said something came up. It can't happen today. And you straight out said, I just hope everything's okay. And right when you said that, that was meaningful to me, because then I said, okay, should I tell him the truth and just say, hey, I'm actually struggling mentally with the way I feel right now. I don't feel good. And so I don't want to be on camera. I don't know what to say. And you're just like, let's do this because this is get real. We're going to get real. Let's just get real that some days I'm laying on the couch. I don't want to get up. You don't feel, you just don't feel good some days. And then other days you feel friggin' amazing. And when I'm working, I feel amazing. I will say that. That's one thing about me, is people are like, well, if you can't do this, how are you going to walk into a room with a microphone and be the center of attention? And I'm like, it's not the same. It's
It's a
like
different hat.
when you're working, you put on your mask and I can hide behind a phone, and then I'm free. Like if I can just be in charge of that and in control of that and videotape people, camera people, do this, and that, then I'm good to go. But when it turns around into something else, then it's not so easy anymore. So like for me to I went to an event the other night about this was during the medication, so about a week ago. And I did it for fun, so I was not getting paid or anything like that. And sitting at the event, the dinner was very difficult for me, very, very difficult, just sitting at a table. And because it was that one-on-one talk again with people that's just kind of, I hate to say meaningless, but it is. And the first thing I did is I looked at the person in charge and I said, "Can I start videotaping now?" Because then I knew that was going to put take me out of my head and put me right into work mode. And he said, "No, let's wait a little bit. We'll do it after a little while." And I said, "Okay." And then I went, I haven't even told anybody this, okay, besides my boyfriend. But I said, okay, I got to go to the bathroom. And I went downstairs and I told myself, I can't be there anymore. I just can't. And so I called my boyfriend on the phone and I said, tell him I'm not feeling well and that we need to go. And he said, all right. And so he came downstairs and we left. And I was so sad in the car, so freaking sad that I couldn't even just sit through a dinner. But that's the difference is like if I was working and I had instantly said, okay, I'm going to start taping and videotaping now, everything would have been different. It would have been a whole different story. It's
Well,
just
and in
weird, isn't
some ways, the phone and whatever it is, your craft is it's
it? A
it's a
self-defense
weapon.
mechanism.
Well, exactly, it's a
Yeah.
weapon that we
Mhm.
yield, right? That we're able to say, well, no, 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 I can put myself up here and I can separate myself from everyone else and I can desensitize
Oh, all I have to do
myself
is this.
from the
Yes.
situation. Right,
And then
right.
I feel good. And then I'm just in charge. And I'm like, and that's why people are like, oh, you're obsessed with taking photos and videos, which I've done my whole life. Okay. But I think that's the thing, is it was something to hide behind so that I didn't have to deal with my own self. I'm dealing with other people. Instead, I'm interviewing you. I can interview you any day. And we talk about this on the news, me and Eric Gardner, because I'm on the news once a month with him. And sometimes I turn the tables around on him. And that's when I shine the most, is when I'm the person interviewing. And rather than when he's interviewing me, I'm like, ah. So I don't know. We have our talents, and my talents are being in control. I need to be in control of a situation. I'm good at interviewing. I'm good at getting the conversation going when it comes to work stuff, things like that. But when we turn all that around, I need major help and I need a therapist. Okay.
Well, you're getting cheap therapy here, and I hope that
Yeah.
I know that this show is going to help so many people, Sarah. I knew it the first time that we talked on my show and we just got into things. I think you're a natural podcast host. I think you have a bright future as a host on the Scene projects and your several shows that you'll probably end up doing in the future. Because it will allow you to protect yourself, but it's also going to allow you to help other people heal while you're protecting yourself and while you're growing and while you're doing all those things. It's there's nothing wrong with being guarded either, right? Like we don't have to be that raw, um, you know, all the time, right? You don't have to be out there and let the whole world affect you like that all the time either. It's not doing you any good and it's not doing anyone else any good to just push through because you think you need to, right? Like at
But guess
some
what?
point,
That's
just
where
pushing
mental health
through is
comes in, though. That's where the mental health comes in, is that's my negative mental health, is in my mind. I feel, and this is from childhood, that I have to impress. I have to, do the best at everything. And I see even a couple of my children feeling that way now. Probably because they've seen me try to succeed everything. And so if I'm not getting that pat on the back saying, "Oh my gosh, you did so good at this," or "I love what you're doing for the world. I love what you're doing for the community," and I'm feeling terrible and I'm feeling like I'm not doing anything and I'm not good enough. And it's something that's where the therapist needs to come in and help me because I am doing a lot of amazing things, I'm getting up
right.
every single day and
Exactly.
my house is gorgeous right now. I'm looking around, I'm like everything, there's plants everywhere, the outdoors that I've brought inside, my children are healthy and happy, my grandbaby's calling me 6 times a day. I'm pulling off all this work, I'm sponsoring people, I'm donating things, I'm doing, trying to make it as many events that I can possibly do. However, it's exhausting some days.
Yeah.
And
Well,
when
and
you're
that's
getting
where
insomnia,
right.
it's
Well,
not
and
good.
that's got to kill you. And that's why I'm never a proponent of those prescription, or
Yeah.
really, I mean, really any substances. I quit drinking because it wasn't making me a very good person, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I had to make the conscious decision like, no, you can't do this anymore, right? Like it's not helping you in any way, shape, or form. And it's actually killing you in every way, shape, and form. So there's decisions that you have to make for yourself. And sometimes that might be taking a medication, or it might be leaving a medication behind. Maybe it's
Yeah.
picking up something new. Maybe it's just embracing
Maybe
that.
it's medical marijuana, or maybe it's not.
Exactly.
Maybe
Um,
it's walking,
I think it
exercising.
starts and I think it starts with embracing the I am. I am a good father. I am a good mother. I am a good husband or girlfriend. I am those things. Not I'm trying to be that. I am and living in that. So you can wake up every day and go winning. We are winning. Charlie Sheen said it best, right? You're winning every day. Look at your house. Look at your beautiful children. Like you've raised children now to fruition. They're adults.
Well,
They're
and
having their own
twins
babies.
too.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I
And
mean, the fact that I had twin babies, and you should have seen me then. I was 105 pounds. Okay, right now I'm 135 pounds. 105 pounds, my hair falling out because I'm breastfeeding these twin babies. And like,
they're literally
I
sucking the life out of you.
yeah, sucking the life. That's what I said. They were sucking the life out of me. That's what I said every single day. And I loved my babies and I still love them. They're 11 now. But I didn't really have a lot of help. My husband was working all the time. I was at home. I was exhausted. And so to look back at that, I forget about that. Like I made it through that. To look back that I was a smoker since I was 11 years old. That's my twins' age right now. I was a cigarette smoker in the house since I was 11 years old. Okay. And to think that I quit that 8 years ago or 9 years ago, something like that, something that I did every single day, one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, I forget that. So I'm just like hard on myself all the time. But
Right.
then it's like, wait a minute, girl, you did this, you did that,
You
your
just
kids
need to
are,
remember. You just need to
yes.
remember how
I
much
got
of
to
a
retrain the
badass you are
brain
every day. You need a list of your accomplishments on the
in
wall to
front
look
of
at
me.
every day. Yeah. You
Maybe
wake
that's
up
what I
and
should
it's
get a
like,
tattoo of.
look at all
Is
this
like
stuff.
twins tattoos all over me that say that rather than like lips and starfishes and stuff. Just like words of encouragement, because that is one thing that I have been sucking at lately, and I will straight out say is I wake up and my brain has been, what's wrong? Okay, my house, the dishes aren't done right now. My kids, I haven't spent enough time with them. I work, oh my gosh, I didn't schedule this week. Something, it's just like rather than the gratitude and the gratefulness, which I try to focus on, but I haven't been good at. It's been a lot more of that negative mindset.
And
And
my mother-in-law deals with this, right? My mother-in-law
mhm,
is an amazing freaking woman. She put in 19, almost 20 years at the prison as a correctional officer. She was a corporal in charge of an entire unit, right? Like she raised an
wow.
amazing family. She paid off her house. She paid off all of her stuff. She owns it all, right? And now that she's retired and, it's all about the family and everything, but she always tells herself that it's not good enough. She's telling herself that everything's not good enough. And I'm so sad because everybody's mad at me and everybody's this. And I'm like, I don't know externally where that's coming from because Danielle
Yeah.
and I don't ever talk to you and never try to make you feel that way. I don't know what your other kids are saying or doing to you to make you feel that way, but you had 15 people in your house all day. Everyone's fed, everyone's happy, everyone's having a great time except you.
Well, caretakers. I mean, that's maybe the thing
Right.
is the caretakers, because I'm a caretaker as well. And the fact that you said that she, for the pen, right? She was working at the pen,
Yep.
all this stuff. She was obviously caretaking there and caretaking still. The caretakers give, 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 and then sometimes don't receive maybe as much, or maybe they need more. They need more than what
Well,
they're receiving.
and what she's bad at, which I'm sure you're bad at too, is asking for help. Asking for help when
Yeah.
she doesn't have it. And this year was a lot different. I will give everyone credit that she said, "I'm not cooking a big dinner and whatever." And we're all like, "Cool, we got food." You know what I mean? We can cook, we
I
can
know
do
it's
this.
actually
And we would have
awesome.
always done that. We would have always done that. But it's just so, oh, I'm going to do everything. And like just freaking
Yes.
out and being a ball of energy running around. Like nobody even wants that from you. Nobody's asking for this. Nobody's demanding this of you. Like, but also, none of us know how to do it because you've never shared with us how to do this thing or that thing. You've always just shooed us out of the way and said, well, I'll
Mhm.
just do it then. And then you're going to walk on and you're going to be bitter about it because you can't sit down and enjoy it because you decided. You are deciding to do it all. You're not asking
Yeah.
for help. You're just taking control and you're, well, I'm just going to do
How many
everything.
kids does she
Okay.
have?
Then you can be pissed off. She has 3 kids. And then
See, I
obviously
mean, and
we're all
three kids
married
is a
and
lot.
kids. And yeah,
That's the thing,
man.
is 3 kids is a lot. 5 kids is a lot, but 3 kids is a lot. And I say
Right.
if you can have three, you can have 10. But that's the thing, is the same thing happened with me exactly the same way on Christmas Eve. I had meatloaf, mashed potatoes, all this stuff planned, every single thing, veggies, ranch, all this stuff that I was going to pull out. And I was tired because I was going through all of this mental stuff. And so I finally just looked at my boyfriend and I said, "Can we just order pizza tonight?" And he said, "Sure." And then I told the kids, and they were like, "Sure, we'd
Yeah,
love
hell
pizza."
yeah.
And
Fucking
I
love
called up a
pizza.
friend of mine. This is the other thing. I called up a friend of mine, Outlaw Tacos Pizza and Beer here in Lead, and I'm gonna call him out because he's awesome. His name is Paul, and he knows the things that I struggle with. He will deliver for me anytime I ask. Okay. He'll deliver anything I need just because he knows that I struggle sometimes with going out and shopping and doing all that stuff. And so I called him up. He's like, "For you? Yep, we'll deliver for you. Yep. And don't even worry about paying me." And I was like, "Paul, nope, Sarah, don't even worry about it." So then, of course, we tip well and all of that. But I totally get mind have to perform to be this good mother, this good person, all this stuff. And not everybody's really expecting that. But in your mind, you think they are.
Right.
And so maybe
Right.
they do want a pizza. Maybe they're okay with the house being a mess. Maybe they're okay
And
with mom not getting
ex-
out of pajamas for the day.
exactly, right? Where it's like you're putting all of this pressure on yourself internally because that's the way her mom did it, right? And I didn't know her mother. Her mother had passed away before her and, Danielle and I got together, and I don't know her mom, but that was very much who her mom was, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, Cindy, you're not your mom. Right? Like you don't have to just pick up this cross and carry it now because your mom did. You're not your mom. You're your own person. And who you are is a lot more fun than who we get to see every Christmas time because you wrap yourself up in freaking knots so damn tight that you can't relax. And nobody can say anything to you and nobody can have fun with you because you're so on edge that you just snap at everybody and everything becomes not fun because inside of you, you are not having fun, right? You inside of you, you have created this story that everybody wants this and wants that from you, when in reality, nothing could be farther from the truth. Nobody is putting that pressure on you externally. And I had this conversation with her in the car on her way home from her aunt. She had an aunt, never had children. Her husband just passed away earlier this year, right? So now this aunt is putting all of everything onto her. She calls her 3 times a day, and I need this and I need this. And it's like, look, it is not your responsibility to take care of this woman, right? It is, she decided that she wasn't going to have children. She decided it was going to be her and her husband, and that's the life that they were going to build. And now she's dealing with the repercussions of those actions. You don't all of a sudden have to be her everything when you were never her everything, ever,
Yeah.
ever. You have your own life, you have your own husband, you have your own children, grandchildren now that need you. And because you are allowing this woman to walk all over you because you don't want to upset her, that's fucked up. You're taking something away from all of us now because she's demanding more and more and more of you, and you don't either have the balls or whatever to stand up to her and say, "Hey, no, no, I'm not doing that for you." And this Christmas she kind of did,
Well, that's
where
good.
she wanted to come over and to spend time with the family, but she just tested positive for COVID a few weeks ago. And because Cindy doesn't want, my mother-in-law doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. We have a very pregnant, sister-in-law in the house. We have other kids and other people and feelings involved, that she had to tell her aunt that, I kind of prefer if you don't, but I'll bring you supper and all these things. And like, if your aunt can't understand that, and she can't get out of herself and not be mad at you because of it, like, that's not on you. You're protecting your own family. You're protecting all these other people. And you can't be worried about how this one person reacts internally, because their feelings are their own. You can't control that. You can't control any of these people. Like,
It's
stop
hard.
thinking that you can make everyone happy. You fucking go make you
You
happy.
can't.
And by making you happy, right, you're going to make everyone else happy, because you're going to radiate that joy again, right? It's nothing from the outside that is making us happy. It wasn't the food that we ate. It wasn't any of that. It was the fact that we were all together and got to enjoy some beautiful moments with each other for just, a few hours of
Yeah.
one day. Like,
Well,
it doesn't
that's the
deserve
thing
all the
is
pressure.
you get, yeah, all there's so much pressure, there's so much crazy shit that happens, all of that. But then there's some really, really good stuff. And um, for instance, I'm just trying to think of, we got an art set over here for Christmas from my boyfriend for our whole family. And we all just kind of sat down and started coloring, and that was Christmas Eve. And then I got out oil pastels, which I've never used before, ever. And my grandma was a big artist. And so I grab out these oil pastels and I'm like, hmm. And I pull up a picture on my phone of this bird and I start drawing. And it came out beautiful. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I am an artist. Maybe. But yeah, so like moments like that, I was so proud of that thing. I gave it to my daughter as a gift. I wrote a little love note for her on there because she always does that for me. And little things like that, like having pizza, drawing together. Um, I don't know. So it was a great holiday time, just like I'm sure you had a great holiday time with all the kids and all the people and the pregnant aunt and or pregnant
Sister-in-law, yeah.
sister-in-law, yeah, and all of those things. And so it all comes around in a full circle. And when I start feeling the times where I felt on edge over the holiday season and for the past 2 weeks, I hate to say it, but I have been counteracting it with alcohol because yes, you are on edge. And the only way to get yourself off of that edge right now and to get myself to these, family events or these Christmas even is to open up a bottle of wine, and it helped so much, thank God. Because you got to do what you got to do right
Well, and
now.
I'm not going to pretend to be some kind of saint, right? Like, I got to get
Yeah.
stoned before I go over there. I got to get fucking stoned to the bone before I go over there, because otherwise I'm going to be that kind of raw, emotional person that
Yeah.
I am here before you. Like, this is me before weed and jazzed up on coffee and shit. I can't go over there like this, just spouting off whatever comes to my mind and trying to tell her, like, that doesn't work there. But I
Yeah.
can get stoned and just, no, man, it's all good. I love you all. My first thing to do when I go over to her house is they have like 100-pound golden lab, right? Me and the dog go outside because I'm so excited to see you, you know?
Yeah.
So we go outside and throw the frisbee for 20 minutes, and I let that energy kind of calm, and it calms the dog down a little bit, but it brings me to center, and knowing that I'm not here necessarily to be the same Bubba that I am at home in my studio, or that I am when I go out and I'm working and doing all of those things. I'm
Yes.
Uncle Bubba while I'm there, right? Or I'm the son-in-law that drove, his father-in-law to his mom's house to deliver food, right? And then took my mother-in-law to her aunt, her last living relative, right? That's not her brothers and stuff. Like, her last living elder, we got to go over and feed her. And I know she's upset that she wasn't allowed over there or whatever. But you can't control if that person's upset or not. Like, and that's something that I'm coming to grips with, and she was obviously, she's like, well, you gotta be, he's still your dad, to convincing me that, like, I gotta go back to some family that hurt me. And I was like, no, I don't. No, you are my family. I would much rather give my time and attention to you and to your family and engaging in this and being real than to go back to some superficial life that I had before, right? Some
Yeah.
superficial family that was only a family by name only. Like,
Yeah.
you have accepted me. You've accepted me as the person that I am. And you don't come after me telling me all the things that you hate about me and that I've done to you and all these things. You're throwing that in my face. You're accepting me as I am because that's what family is about. And now that I've kind of had that moment with her, it's allowing me to let go of some of that anger, right? To sever that tie completely. And it's okay to feel okay with it, right? I think the reason I get so angry when we bring up Jim and Tina is because I felt like I had to still be with them, right? Like I felt like I
Yeah.
still had to let them be part of my life, and now I know that I don't, right? And now I know in my heart that I don't. I've severed that connection. You don't get to hurt me anymore, but you also don't get any of my free love energy either. You're not going to get
Yeah.
any of that. And you're not going to get it from my kids. And I really don't care. Well, they're your grandkids. And I don't care what you think about that. I don't care what anyone else thinks about that, really. It's my
See,
life.
and yep, you
They're
get so
my
angry. This
children.
is so funny. And then this is where I come back in. I
Right.
could like
Well,
see you getting all worked
and
up. And I'm
today,
like,
but it's different now. It's different.
uh,
I'm still getting energized by it, but it's a different. I'm not so like just blind rage, right? Which is where I was even 2 weeks ago. Even that's where I was last night. And then in talking with her, even and kind of talking about her situation, I'm healing myself. And that's where I know like this show and these conversations that you and I have are so important because we're just two humans expressing our experiences to each other. That's all it is. And in that, people are going to grab little pieces and have everyone live the same experience. No, that what makes it beautiful. It's relating. It's being able to go, hey, he went through that's kind of like what I went through with this. And that's what we do very well with each other. We relate. And that's why we can
yeah.
talk to any single person on the planet for hours and hours and to get into these deep, meaningful conversations rather than a superficial, oh, how about the weather today kind of thing. Like, I don't
Yes,
do
I don't
those
want to do that with
conversations.
people. And I think if
No.
people know me, they'll see that with me. I want to know the real them, what they're going through. I don't always want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about, this, and that. I don't want to be the one just talking about work, work, work. Oh yeah, work, work, work. No, I want to talk about some real shit. And I want to end this before we get off. I don't know why this came to my head, but when I see you get upset, and I kind of pull you back in, that's because of my childhood and I don't deal well with stuff like that, but that's okay. But the reason I'm saying that is because when I went to this Awakening of Love retreat, and I was expressing some very hard things, and I'm crying, and the guy in charge looked at me and he said, "Sarah, you need to let out that anger. You have so much anger inside of you, and you got to figure out a way to let it out." And I was like, I don't know how. I don't know how to yell. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And he said, "What will make you happy right now that will let off stress?" And I was just like, run through the forest next to the creek screaming. And he said, okay. And he said, everybody, get up. We're all going to run next to that creek with Sarah. And we're going to do what's going to make Sarah happy right now to let off her anger. And I got to lead it through the forest. And it was just like, screaming at the top of my lungs. Oh, and barefoot running next to the creek. And everybody followed me. And we turned around and we all hugged together. And that's the thing is like some people need to scream in a pillow, some people need to yell, some people need to throw things and break things, and some people just need to run through the forest and barefoot. And
And
that's what
maybe that's what I need. I got a free day on Saturday. Maybe we could go do a cold plunge
oh my
together and we
god,
can scream through the woods and I can let it
do
all
that.
out and we can reset and we can keep growing. That's what this show is about. That's what life is about. That's what the book I'm writing is about. Like a lot of the things that we're talking about and that we're unlocking in these conversations are going into this book because that's where the real healing is happening. And it's such a beautiful thing we got going, Sarah. And I'm
Yes,
so
let's
looking
do that.
forward to getting to work with you again tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow, 6 o'clock, right?
Sure,
That's when it
whenever you want to
starts.
get
Well,
there.
when does
Yep.
it start?
Six
So
o'clock.
I'll be there. Who knows when I'll
Well
roll in?
before
But
that.
I'll also
Yep.
see you at La Quinta. We'll keep in touch, and I am probably going to Watiki it up.
Yeah,
So if
I
you
love
guys
it.
want to Watiki it up at some point, whether it's in the morning, you and your wife, whatever, and then on Saturday, yes, if you can make it to lead, I'll take you to my special spot. We'll cold plunge and run through the woods barefoot for a
I
minute.
love it. I love
Okay.
it.
All right. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Sarah. And thanks everyone for listening. We love you guys.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scene Projects Podcast Network. We appreciate you listening. You can find more at thesceneprojects.com. Join our community.
Got an ocean full of love that's made for two. We can sail upon the ocean breeze and sunshine feels like you loving me.